My name is Patricio Quintana, and I served with the U.S. Army in Korea. I think that what I'd like to say is how it impacted my future and gave me a clear path as to what I was to do for the rest of my life. Didn't recognize it, but there it was. I landed in Incheon, Korea on Easter Sunday, 1953. And we held Roman Catholic Mass in a bombed out building in one of the classrooms. And from there, I was sent to Yeongdeung-po, which was the repo depot for the time. I was assigned my unit. I went there. After the war was over, I was reassigned to Incheon. And at Incheon, we kind of kept an eye on the port, and we received all the incoming ex-prisoners of war as the helicopters were landing right off our gun position. During that period, after the war was over, some young men from South Korea came to my position and asked if I knew Spanish, and I told them that I did. And they asked would I teach them and how much would it cost. And I told them that I would gladly teach them, but my fee would be that they teach me Korean. And so we started a relationship there that lasted maybe 6 to 9 months. I learned Korean. I don't know if they learned Spanish, but my wife sent me some elementary Spanish books, and I used those to go through them. And I said it was a defining moment because I got there, I had my first experience in a classroom, bombed out classroom, and then I had an experience of teaching the students. I had been not so good student in high school, never intended to go to college, but I felt that if Uncle Sam had sent me on that vacation, maybe I should go to college and see what would happen to me. I went to college with the idea that I would be a businessman, but I was so far behind that I ended up in a teacher college, and I became a teacher. And I have been a teacher now for 50 years.
Where do you teach?
I taught at the junior high level, junior high at that time, middle school now, for 13 years. Then I went and got a doctor's degree at New Mexico State University. I worked as director of Chicano programs. I established the first equal employment opportunity affirmative action program for the university. And then I became what is now president of the Doña Ana Community College. At that time, it was known as the DACOEB, Doña Ana County Occupational Education Branch. Later, I changed it to Doña Ana Branch, later to Doña Ana Community College, and I was gone by the time it became DACC. But that was a defining moment, I think, in my life, that I should have been exposed to an educational setting twice in the year and a half that I spent in Korea. It was a gruesome time. It was a lovely time. I became interested in history, something that I did not love in high school. And I got a BA and an MA in history. And so I've spent now many years in education. After I retired from New Mexico State University's Doñana Branch Community College, I became the principal of Las Cruces Catholic School, and then went to the Commission on Higher Education, then came back and became principal again. And so now I try to catch up with 40 years of honeydew chores that I have to do. But it was a wonderful experience. It was horrible. And yet, in retrospect, I can say that it impacted my life very thoroughly. And the situation having to do with the war or the police action, whatever you want to call it, those challenges will remain there. They will remain challenges. Is there anything else that would...
Do you have any funny memories, funny stories, good times that you had when you were actually in Korea?
Oh, we had interesting times in Incheon, which was a port where all the gasoline came in for the whole area. We had searchlights that tried to keep tabs of Bed Check Charlie. You probably have seen Bed Check Charlie coming in his little Piper Cub when you watch MASH. And they would come in and bomb the harbor. If we didn't knock them out, they'd bomb the harbor. And the empty gallons, the empty 50-gallon drums of gasoline would boom, and they'd go 400 or 500 feet in the air. And the ones that were not empty, the ones that had gasoline, would just spill and create great big fires. So it was kind of an interesting 4th of July every time they hit us. That was one thing. The other thing that was interesting was, and funny, was we were assigned ROK troops, Republic of Korea troops, to be trained in our gun positions. And when we first received them, we treated them just like regular soldiers. We went to the mess hall and we went to lunch, but we quickly found that we had to do something about it, because if one of them came in and got a hold of the ketchup bottle, they would empty it out completely. And if they got a hold of the mustard bottle, they'd empty it out completely. So that none of the rest of us could have some, more especially those in the back. So we started shifting our Korean ROK counterparts to the back of the line so that we could all have some of the condiments. That was an interesting aspect that worked for us. I made many friends. One of them I did not meet in Korea. We met when we went in the Army. And we trained together. We went to Korea together. We came back together, but over there we were separated. And I still see him. He lives in Unedited, New Mexico. His name is Feliberto Chavez, and he had a different experience than I did. So I stop on my way to Albuquerque, and we have lunch. The way back, we stop again, and we reminisce. And it's great. But of all the friends that I made, he's the closest, and I still see him every time I go by. And most of my friends that went with me have passed away. Very young. So you kind of lose track of that kind of thing.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I didn't add too much to what you had, but